Alright, cleared a small hole in the mess, and I dug up this old dog, the failed project. But anyway, I'm going to take the channel that completely didn't work, the one I tested first and probably fried by putting full voltage on it. Well, not really, because it was through a light bulb, but still, I didn't go through a variac and gently feed it like I did the second time. So I'm going to get the one I did first and pull it off this heatsink. There's no chance I'm going to unsolder these pins. And that's what this video is going to be about, is trying to unsolder this multi-pinned, I believe it's two-sided. I think it just rings on this side, but it's going to be a little tough to unsolder. We'll see how it goes. So I'm going to find the right one, pull it off the heatsink, because there's no chance I'm going to, with it attached to the heatsink, it's going to be very difficult to unsolder. And I believe, you know, there's many different methods I could use. I could use the tape. I got them all in this little bucket, I guess, here. I could dig out the tape, which I never use, because it's probably older than the Hills. You know, it's the Radio Shack brand, is it? I'm definitely going to need some rosin. I think I'm going to get the gooey stuff this time. And I could use these little pumps. They work. There's the art to doing that. Usually add a little solder, get everything really warm, and get it in one big pull. But I'm probably going to use my favorite. In a bigger project, I use this guy. And you have to kind of keep tips in stock for them. Now that Radio Shack's gone, I don't know. I did see a cheaper one on Amazon. It looked like a piece of junk and it was pretty expensive. But it might use the same tips. If anybody knows a better quality unit that does the same thing, I'd like to hear about it. So I got a little bit of rosin out in a toothpick so I can generously use it on my pins I'm going to unsolder. And when things get a little bit crusty, I'll put more on in the process here. But the main thing I'm going to look at next is actually doing a little soldering. And I probably should plug an iron in too, I guess. Maybe I'll do that first even. It's really hard to desolder something that doesn't have enough solder on it to start with. And I did try to go sparingly on these. I didn't want any solder to go through and short pins out or anything like that. So you don't want to be too generous when you're soldering these. You know, sometimes if the pins fit loose enough, the solder can go right through if you're using gravity and go and short the pins out. Of course, you can usually see that, but anyway, you don't want to use a whole lot when you're building this. But any pins that look starved for solder now, I really need to go back and put a little more solder on them. Resolder them with a little more generous amount of solder. If you've only got a little bit, you're only heating up the real small thermal mass and trying to suck it out. It just never really works. You need kind of a bigger blob, something for the suction to grab, and get some like momentum going, sort of. When you get just nothing there to suck, but a little bit of tiny bit of solder, it just doesn't happen. Alright, I'm just going to give this the brutal try here, and I should get a little bit of solder out here. Let's just see what we can do with this mess. Yeah, I should get a strategy here. Let me go from the top row first. And I'm not married to this unit. If I can't make this work, I'm going to go for the solder sucker next, probably. I'm not getting a good suck on these. There you go. That's actually not something else. Something else. I wonder, of course, we haven't. Let me see. Yeah, there, right. Well, let's try this part out. And I do a little circular motion around the lead. Both to scrape into the, make a good contact thermally. I did a mistake there. I should have had the ball pumped before I went up there. I shouldn't have pumped the ball while it was on there. I could regret that one. Let's see. Yeah, may have to resolder that one to be able to desolder it. I'm just going to leave it for now. Alright, now that I've done a fairly good first pass, I'm going to see if I got any movement at all on that chip. Probably not, but I'm going to see. If there is, I'll exploit it and start sucking ones that don't move. Obviously, I'm not going to grab that chip right now. I'll burn my little thumbs off, so I'm going to get something that I can use to pad me here. Yep, it's going to be a bugger. So, one thing I could do at this point, if it looks like it's going to be tough, obviously I could try a different method. But I don't really need to save this chip. I could just start hacking it and then pull the pins individually. I'm going to dink around with it a little bit more yet before I go to that extent. That might be what we do though. Let's get in there with a dike and chop, work my way in, get the chip off, start pulling pins one by one. Brutal, but it wouldn't be that bad. I did a pretty good job removing solder. I can see there's a few that stuck to the rings. And I went around with this little Harbor Freight pick. Pretty cool little pick. And I couldn't really get any of these leads to run, pull loose. Even reaching in, you know, the ones that look pretty bare. I'm going to go using the picks and a soldering iron. Pull the pins out one at a time with a pick rather than just cutting them out. Although either one would work at this point. I'm actually going to work pretty dry here. I'm going to have this tip pretty bare. Use a little bit of rosin. Yeah, I need a proper soldering iron cleaner. Need a lot of things. I tried this back row, which I thought was pretty well removed. But they're sticking like buggers. You know, I might, since I'm pretty sure there's nothing I can do with this chip anyways. I'd like to get a cleaner removal. I would like to test the other chip that is kind of half working. But this is almost not worth the trouble. So, what can I do to exploit whatever I got here? I should probably go for the other row actually first. Get some of those going. Because on these other row, I got this funny little pick I can get right in there. You can see I've already distorted a bunch of the wires trying to pull them out. That's kind of cool. Makes the whole set worth getting for this one really crazy tip. I think it gets way deep in there. And I can just like slide it around, pick one pin at a time to play with. I'm trying to get the middle pin first. And maybe I'll get it later. Okay, let's just get whatever I can get. I'm going to be targeting the back row, like the third one. There she is. Get out of there, you bugger. Yeah, that's what I'm going to have to do one by one, is target them and pull them. I don't want to do the cut method. I'd kind of like to avoid that just so I can, however I can get some mechanical force in there, I'm going to use it, exploit it. Way. Time for more resin. Good. He rode my tip keeping it so dry, but I don't really want to flow more solder into these. I tried, but it's just going to be a cut and go. I'm getting frustrated. It's taking too long. So I just used the dikes and cut the back row one by one. And now I'm going to try again without cutting the other pins to just get them out by the standard tilt method. Put a lot of pressure on my thumb here and see if I can get this pin to go. Probably not, because I'll probably do two at a time at least. There's so many pins it doesn't want to move. I'm just going to cut it. Cut! I have no patience today. Maybe when I do the other chip I'll go one by one with the solder sucker, see if I can actually get them dry enough to pull the chip hole. And yeah, I got impatient and just chopped the sucker out. Now I have to go pin by pin and pull this out. Probably use a solder sucker for that. Or the solder pullet rather. Maybe nothing at all. Maybe I'll just use it. We'll see. I'm doing one by one. I guess I'll keep the camera on. Oh, I got the other thing cooled off already, so I really can't use the desoldering iron because I got it cooled off already. While I heated up the iron. At this point, I'm going to put some tin on this and kill my tip when you bear like that. So, I can hold this somehow. Got two sets of these hands, and this old set is pretty good. This newer set's got more chrome on it and stuff, but it's just a POS. I can't find parts of one of the claws to put it back together. That's why one side is clawless. Right now it's holding the jar, so I guess I'll leave it go. Get a little weight to my jar here so the jar doesn't tip so easy. Always end up with a lot of curls in my cord. Doing the same flip over and over. Yeah, this is going to fight me the whole way because ideally you'd like to see the whole lead suck right through. It's not going to happen though. Yep. So I did the first three and I'm going to tug them one by one now. That's the bad part about just cutting them off, is now I got to do this cleanup work. It's not going to be that easy. And again, they got, even though it's not really much of a double-sided board, they got circles. They use the double side another board just for circles. So you got a circle at each end of the lead. I don't know if they're plated through, but at any rate, it's not easy getting these guys out. That's probably my best approach. Go vertical. Heat it and grab it. Problem is the tips instantly cool it. I think I want to grab that one there. It's the back row. Let's go with these back row guys. It should be easier. So I'm going to grab that one. I hate taking all these tips. I almost tempted to put some nasty tape on these tips. Should get a little going. I need some ceramic needle nose pliers. Be a cool thing to have. Well, I'm slowly picking away at this guy. What is it here? All right. I'm going to put some solder on that, and I can heat transfer because there's no solder. So yeah, well, hate to add solder. I may have to. The other problem is, the time I do get heated and moving, I lose it right away when I clip my needle nose on there. I'm trying to work it dry, but it's not going to happen. I need a little bit of thermal mass and the conductivity and everything else going for me for thermal conductivity, that is, in order to make this happen. This and that nice and warm before I pull the heat away. Come on, you bugger! It just froze up immediately. This big guy way over here. Can be frustrating. You just have to keep at it. See, this is specifically I'm mistaking too, so don't bother with that. This is the guy I'm trying to get. The core solder just came off of it. Yeah, this is going to happen this way. Or do you well? Grudgingly, very difficult. How I can see. Should probably keep that microscope going. And that's kind of hard to do too, though. Trying to work on a computer screen where your hands are in a different reality frame. It's one by one by one, and I'm rather taping all this. So yeah, it's a fight all the way around here. So after I chopped all the pins, what I've been doing to make some progress is to just take the iron, and I'm not putting a lot of solder on it, just getting it wet on one side. It's a little too much, just a little to keep it wet. And going up, what I had to do is these contacts that I had cut off, I went with the soldering iron and I pushed them all flush. And you can't just push them and grab them because, like I said, they freeze right away because you got a ring on both sides. So what I've been doing is just trying to suck the stems up. Is it the first row or second row? I really need my, I'm just going flush with the iron. Getting it good and hot. And then hopefully getting the stem out with it. This one's a bugger, it's been there. Let me try a fresh one. That's a long one, but I don't think I got it. Pretty much I'm left with the hard ones here to demo on, but this one's moving, it should go. Cut with my fingernail, not quite. Arrgh. So I got a bunch out this way, but now I'm left with the ones that don't want to go. Got it. This long one's pretty loose, but it just won't suck. Yep. This little guy should, tried a couple times already in this one. Come on, baby. Nope. These ones that are left are pretty much going to have to go one by one with the needle nose, which isn't really working for reasons I've already discussed. Where am I? Where am I? Yeah, I didn't even have a chance on that one. And I'm doing this under the scope so I can see most of the time here. What can I go after? This end one wants to curl so much. I don't think I'm going to be able to suck it out. Oh, I don't have it cocked. I think I got it. I got it. What do I got left here? I got 2 more in there. That one. Oh, yes. Nope. So hard, so much to juggle. Come back at this in a minute. But that's the basic thing I've been trying to do. Battle hole by hole. And if you're using a solder pullet and it stops working too well, you gotta take it apart and clean it. Normally do this over a trash bin. This isn't too bad. Oh yeah, there is some stuff in there. It wasn't coming out. Wipe down the little seal. And if you have it, put a little bit of silicone grease on it. Sparingly, of course it's going to attract dirt. This is grease, not RTV, of course. And maybe I'll get some better performance out of this. The last few holes I tried to clear, it was like not giving me a good stroke. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, she's back to strength. That'll make a difference. Alright, what holes do I have left? Like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. I keep accidentally filling holes I cleared. So finally all the holes are clear, but quite a bit of time and work. It's really not worth it. I won't do the other board this way. I'll just buy another board. It'd be easier to build up another board, kit for $6 or $7 than to waste half a day pulling an IC out. It's the double-sided holes that make it really tough. I don't believe they're plated through or anything. It's just a ring on each side, which makes it really tough to heat both rings and the stem and get it all out and clean. Pretty tough. So I bought the replacement chips in a different configuration because I wanted them to stand, instead of being at right angle to the board, I wanted them to go straight off the board. And I looked from the drawings that I saw, it looked like it would just fit the same way the other chips fit, but it doesn't. The other chip has a standard width between the pins, standard spacing, that matches a dip socket, basically. Whereas this, except that they're staggered, the one row staggered from the other, but as far as the in between the 2 rows, it's the same as a dip. Whereas this is like half that. This is only like a millimeter or 2. Looks bigger than it is because this is magnified, of course. So I'm going to struggle to get these into even a new board, much less trying to get them into my, worked up old board. So if I want to use these chips, I'm going to have to either put them on perf boards or probably just buy some new PC boards, basically, new kits, and use these chips in the kits. But I'll have to adjust the spacing. It's going to be kind of fun. So what I did with the old one is I tried to, I still have to touch up the soldering though, I kind of lost my patience with it. Is I was going to try to make the old board into a test jig. Let's see if we can get this. And what I did is I put sockets in, so I couldn't get this row seated as well as I liked. I can't really trust it. They're all soldered in, but they're not really through the hole all the way where they're pointing out the other side. Some of the pins are stopping me, so it's a pain. I just lost patience with trying to heat it. You have to pretty much heat a bunch of pins at once to try to get it through and rock it in. So that's been kind of a challenge. It'd be nice to have a test jig for these chips, is what I was trying to do here, but I'll have to rework this or rework the other one maybe. I might try either another desoldering technique, even more bold and unpleasant than the other techniques shown. See if I can torch that chip off the old board without destroying the board, but that's probably not going to happen. So this project's going to hit the shelf again, I'm afraid, until I buy a couple new boards, I guess.